Hello viewers, this is Conversations and we're here again to do justice to issues. And I'm not here alone, we have a full house today. I'm Chinwe.
Hello guys, my name is Aisha Falke.
Hello, my name is Omenasa.
My name is Bash.
And I'm Z.
We have two topics to discuss today. And the first one, we'll be talking about family bonding. And we'll go on to domestic violence. Stay with us.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day, I got tired of all that and I said,
Aisha, maybe we should start with you. What do you think about family bonding?
In my own part of where I'm coming from, like
Right.
Nigeria, like the northern part, we tend to have a distance between husband and wife. You know, sometimes it's just our fathers are, you know, macho, and the women are submissive. There's no, you don't see synergy in relationship.
Foundation.
First off, I would like to mention that the individual themselves, they need to know themselves.
Of course.
And also understand that the essence of that union is to allow the other person be themselves.
Yes.
Because some people are just naturally oppressive. I don't know if I should use that word.
Yes, it is true.
They get their high, if I should use that word, for
By
the fact
oppressing
that
others.
somebody is
Beneath
beneath
them.
them. So it creates that
Barrier.
space
Gap.
or that lacuna for communication. So
But what
you need
happens
people
when
to-
you're
yeah.
married to such a person? You need to know that that's the kind of person he is
yeah.
or she is and know how to go about it. There's a
yeah.
way you talk to somebody that has that, dominating factor about him.
Yeah.
If you know you're married to somebody that would suppress you, you know how to come to that person.
Very true.
If you're married to a wife that
Right.
when you say A, she's ready to say the whole alphabet, you should know it's true. You know, you need to be able to know how to come. Don't start at A. Maybe you should start at like H.
Right.
So that way she's like, okay, what way do I go now? You know,
yes,
know
yes,
how the tactics
It's
of how
true.
to communicate with your spouse. Because if you don't, there'll be this big gap, and then your kids will see exactly what you're doing and they'll replicate it
And
in their own
kids
relationships.
know. Kids
They
know.
feel it.
They feel it. They sense it
When
when
there's
there's
tension in the
yeah,
house,
they do.
the kids know it. They feel it, and they grow with that in them. And them too, they now teach their kids
it's more
that
like
same
broken
way.
parents
Yeah,
producing broken kids to
kids,
further
yeah.
produce.
Exactly.
It affects society.
And it's a rippling
Yeah.
effect.
Well, like I think that, first of all, you should be very cognizant of the background of whoever it is you are marrying.
True.
Like my husband, he was raised in a family where his dad was a soldier. And so, like, I mean, as soon as they heard him walking in, everyone stood in attention. At
Seriously?
attention. You understand? So that definitely did play
Like
a
attention?
Yes, like it's
When you're married to a
either
soldier, it's very like
very
Very-
stringent,
Yeah.
very
My dad
you
was a
know?
soldier, but the
And
house wasn't like that.
Well, it's a common stereotype that actually does fit a lot of people. Like it may not fit you, but it fits a lot of people. And so he brought that into the marriage where, you know, everything is so compartmentalized, like just so serious. And then I was raised as an only child, and my parents lived in America and still do. So very, very expressive, very, very out there, and just like I would never forget the day that my husband came, like he was in church, and my dad just called me aside and he said, "You cannot marry that man. No. You cannot marry him at all. He's not even raising his hands. He's not even praising God. He's not expressive.
Whoa.
It is a problem." You know? And I was like, "Dad, whatever." And then, of course, we got married, and oh my gosh, like I'm talking and he's on the phone. Or yes, and I'm telling you, he is listening. He is actually listening, but he just wasn't raised
that way.
That way to actually drop the phone, eye to eye contact, and let's be talking.
Well, I think the good thing is that you understand that, so you're able to manage that.
I eventually learned that, but I think that one of you had mentioned, I think it was you, Z, like you said that that the an inverter.
All true.
Okay, you can't just be loud and screaming, because I used to do that in my marriage, and it did not work out well.
It won't work out
at all. No,
I'm that person.
He just
you shout, I shut
like
down.
completely tuned off, and I'm like, oh my God, you are not listening. How can you listen?
That's a man for you. Typically, we are like that. Yeah.
So
see,
proper communication.
Sometimes when you have children early in the marriage, you tend to lose yourself in the marriage. So you tend to concentrate on the kids. So sometimes...
But when, let me give an example, in the north, the father is this iron figure. There's a chair he has in the house, you dare not come near it.
Don't sit on that chair.
The father sits on that chair, the mother sits on the floor.
Hold on.
The father sits on the chair, the mother sits on the floor by his side. When the children come, they gather around that chair and sit on that floor. So if the father does not move, the children are like this. If
like
the father
the
sneezes, they're like, should we say, "Oh, Baba, is everything okay?"
Well,
you know,
There's still that stiffness.
You're raised with that fear.
Yeah.
But when everybody is seated on that four-seater chair, the mother is holding on to her son, the father is holding on to the daughter, they're watching TV, they're laughing. "Oh, Baba, ina son wannan." Sorry.
Sure.
You know,
I
Baba, ina son
translate.
wannan.
Baba,
Mother,
I like this.
"Oh, Mama, I want this." And, you know, there's that love.
Right.
Once the kids start to grow up, even when they meet other children, they're easier, you know, to share their food, their candy, their toys. They're more warm because they were raised with that warmth.
Yeah.
But when in your house is, "Oh, you can't touch this without asking. You can't go to the kitchen without asking." When it's time to sleep is sleep. There's no, you know, let's lay together.
There's no room for negotiation.
Like there's no room for fun.
So the minute there's other children and they touch it, "Don't touch my toy."
And I think where I understand where you're coming from, and that's something, you know, when you're very strict in a family, because I met some people when I went to the university, and as soon as they came to the university, they were somebody else's child, because they saw freedom. And they went haywire. You understand? So yes, when you bond, and then when you bond with your child, he would not hide any bad character.
Anything.
That's why sometimes I don't know. People might disagree with me, but I'm not really big on boarding schools
At all.
Yeah, because see, the thing is, why?
I went to boarding school.
Okay.
That turned out quite okay.
Did you?
Yes, but
I did too. See, the thing is, okay, let me ask you.
3 months.
Okay, but let me just say.
3 months.
Excuse me,
I will. Okay, thank you.
The point of the matter is I went.
For me, I feel when the child is in a boarding school, this is 3 months of doing whatever without caution. You know, when your child is in day, he comes back with an attitude. You delete it every single day.
Yeah, but in the school, while you're in the school, you have teachers who are supposed to, you know, be like the checks, you know.
Time ago when they would take light, and I think at that time generator was just coming in. Generator was for people that were wealthy. We had our own, but then that was a long time ago. So my mom would on this, you know, this what do you call it, lantern, and she would read stories for us. Yes, and it was just a lovely time. We tend to discuss more, and sometimes what we do now is we just switch off the TV in my house. we switch off the TV, we switch off, well, we just silence our phones, and we just lay on the carpet, and we just discuss. So I'll just say, oh, do you remember when we were dating? Do you remember when I gave you a last small? You know, when I was doing shakara for you know, those things to just remind the spouse of, you know, those good times, you understand? So I feel, you know, electronics have really
such a great part in disconnecting people.
I think someone mentioned vacations, and I'm sure when we talk about vacations, we're thinking of traveling outside of the country. No. It doesn't have to be. I remember growing up, our vacation was going to the village. You know, we go back to the village and bond with grandma, your cousins, your family friends. You know, there were times when after a meal, you know, we just, you know, hang around together and just talk about our experiences, school experiences, whatever it was, just talk. And, you know, and that creates some kind of bond. You get to know each other better, you know. You get to know, you know, what their strengths are, their weaknesses, you know, just, you know, create that bond.
And they can tell you.
And then even play games. Who remembers things like Ludo?
I love Ludo.
What's the other? Ayo. Scrabble. You know, just play games. Uno. Hide and seek, you know.
And I think something we need to do as well, I just want to put it out there, is, you know, this issue of if kids are being bullied in school, you know, when there's no communication, they don't know how to talk.
They don't know
how
to talk.
And they grow with that thing in them, fear. And when they grow up, everybody can step on them. And then they never recover from it. It's when they're small, when you talk to a child, they'll say, oh, this person beats me in school. Like when I was in school, there was this girl that is always harassing me. But then because I could talk, I spoke to my mom, and she'll say, okay, when she says this, say this. When she says this, say this. And then later on, I became a bit better. Even though she still scares me now. I'm just saying, no, the thing is, even a child, just see, people in America, well, you say in America, people in America commit suicide because of bullying. It's a terrible thing. When children in school break you every single day,
and you can't report that.
Yes, you don't know how to communicate that because your parent is busy.
Yes.
You understand? There's no communication. The bonding thing they're talking about, it's very, very important. We need to communicate, bonding with. And then another thing we tend to forget, when we grow and we have our own families, we tend to forget our parents. Yes. You know, these are people that need love. They're like, they might be in their 60s, 70s. They need our love. They need that bonding. And we tend to forget them. We have our own children, our own everything.
Can I say something?
To forget them.
Would you guys agree that it's usually the men that tend to forget?
Okay, see, the thing is,
and then
to
the
be frank,
women tend to,
remember
that, we need to send money to daddy, or send, no, it is.
That's why
what do you think?
Daddy's little girl?
Okay, no, not even about daddy's little girl. You know, the thing is, men, because they're not trained that way.
Exactly.
Because you tend to, a woman is always in the house.
She's a nurturer.
Yes. So what I've realized, like in my family, I know that I am the person that is always, is mommy all right? Is this? But sometimes you tend to get carried away. You have so many things you're doing. So that sometimes it's not even money they need. They just need to talk to someone.
Just a phone call. Not money.
Yes. Just like sometimes, you know, a friend of like my mom could just say something that doesn't sit well with her, but she will now call me and say, what do you think? What does she mean? Because me, this is how I'm thinking. I will just say, oh no, she doesn't mean anything. And she say, oh, okay, I thought of it this way. Sometimes when we're busy, we see missed calls, we don't return. We're like, oh, later. And this person
the
later is like months later.
Yes.
So that's the thing. We need to bond with our parents as well as we become parents. Do you understand? I think that is very important as well.
And with this, like now, we tend to only take our children to their grandparents when we need them to babysit. Or we're traveling, let's take the kids to the... No, we need to make it a habit of, you know, every weekend the kids need to go and bond with their grandmother, their grandfather, other uncles, cousins and stuff. We don't, I see that a lot. It doesn't happen
anymore.
It doesn't happen. It's only over the phone. Oh, come and speak to so-and-so. Yeah,
we
we're
are
losing
losing
that.
that.
Like I think that there should also be family reunions, like in May or like in June, like as soon as the kids are out.
We're so used to family reunions in the summer.
We-
You have a cookout.
Everyone,
the whole family comes, extended family. Everybody sits down and eats.
Okay, guys, we need to go on a break, and we'll be right back. We need
Vacation
to do
time.
yes.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
So if she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
So we're back, and we were just talking about reunions, and of course we also know the other side of reunions. You know, people fight, people quarrel, and all that.
Family fights. Everybody. If you don't fight your family, then I don't think you're existing.
Exactly.
No, see, the thing
If
is,
I don't fight my family, who am I fighting?
no.
You make it sound like it's proper to just fight. Like an unwritten rule.
yes.
You just sort of, okay, big brother, big sister said it.
Yes,
it's all
that's
good.
it.
Me, I will do it.
No, I
don't
can't
breathe
do
the
that.
second time. I've told you offended me.
No, to be frank with you, it's better that way. But then me,
but
that's
we're
how
cool
we
with it.
grew up.
Yeah,
We just don't express, which is not a good thing. But I feel, to be frank with you, we just don't confront each other in my family.
So is
We
there a
just don't.
better way
dare
of
not.
going about it, of addressing those issues?
Yeah, well,
perhaps?
hey,
Do they
well,
ever get addressed? That's
They,
the question.
They don't ever
that's
get
the thing.
addressed. You just
They
live with
never
it.
get addressed.
And
You
they
just
should.
sometimes you just forgive and forget and move on.
No, you
never
cannot
forget.
move on.
And
That's
you
the
never
thing.
forgive.
That you don't even have details of, like,
yeah. Well,
huge fog.
It's
Yes.
how do we explain this?
that's the thing. See, my brother, we connect.
You are on the same connecting
Yes,
dot.
yes, yes.
Like I said, you do A, you can't get to finishing A. I will tell you. You have
something about
offended me,
being
and
too
this is
American?
what.
Yeah, well, no, to
They
be
like being very
No, I know
expressive.
some
They
families.
like being-
very
No,
expressive.
no, I understand
And
that. I'm
everybody
just
is
saying.
confrontational.
See,
That-
It's not being
It has to do
Nigerians
with-
are
it has to do with how
confrontational
you
too.
do
So
it.
it's
The
always not an
minute you
American
do it, I will
thing.
tell you, you have done this to me,
Wow.
and then the minute
No,
I say
I
it's
feel-
done,
I
it's wrapped.
feel-
I will never
hold on,
remember you've
hold
done
on,
it
yes.
again.
I
I think
And
it's
it's lovely,
not,
it's beautiful.
When
I mean,
you say
coming
you're
from very two different- I love
confrontational,
it.
in my own family, we just don't even confront
At all.
and tackle issues. You understand? But that's a lot of northern families are like that.
that.
You know, like the elder person does no wrong. The
I
father
love that.
does no wrong,
I love
whether
that.
you like it, even if
And
he's
you love that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love what she's
that's,
saying because
that's
it's
how
the truth.
we
I can
are.
connect
That,
with
yes,
what
yes,
she's saying.
that's
You
how
can
it
connect
is.
with it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's how my family is. Like, there's no way my dad would do any wrong.
Wrong
Whether
from our
even
eyes,
if he is a bad father, you can't just sit down and say, "Oh, father did this or that." No, your mom will shut you down. We've never even tried it.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
I remember when I was a bit younger.
Yes.
And I saw my grandmom scolding my mom.
Yes.
I was.
Yes.
I could not believe it. Like,
Yes,
it was
yes.
so fresh and
Yes.
new.
Yes.
And that's how it is.
Yes, that's the thing. I think, we could actually, address, but
Yeah.
then in a subtle way. But we were just, northern families are really like that. I've seen northern families that are, waka waka
And
kind of
different,
family. Yes, they are at each other's throats. They're very, aggressively nasty. I know people like that, but a lot of people are more, laid back. What comes like flowing waters.
Well, I'm Delta American.
Okay.
Confrontational. We must talk about it.
It's better Like, my mom raised me, and I think because I grew up in the U.S., so I have that orientation of, if somebody offends you, let the person know, like, excuse me, don't be going, come back, come. Auntie, you did so, and so, and you hurt me in so and so way. You might not say I'm sorry, but me, I'll be looking at you. Can you please tell me I'm sorry? Because if you don't say I'm sorry, I can't get over it. So even if you don't say I'm sorry, but you go, oh, okay, I understand. I didn't know I did it. So okay. Sure, you didn't say I'm sorry, but you sure made it feel as if you are sorry. So I'm okay with it. I'm ready to walk away and throw it out.
Does sorry even exist in our own dictionary? In
our own dictionary, I don't think my dad is late, but for the while when he was alive, I don't think he ever apologized for anything.
No, they don't. That's the thing.
Like, how?
It's sorry.
How?
Dad
apologize. What are you asking for?
Oh, yes.
But I think I think a lot of those trends.
You did wrong.
I think a lot of those trends are changing now.
No. You say about back to family bonding. Everybody has needs. And those needs have to be met.
Yes.
And when a child is crying, and I've noticed that in Nigeria, like a child is crying, or like a child goes out and looking for food or something, maybe from the neighbor, and then the mother will be like, "Kodei, idiots! How can you do that? Don't do that!
You want to embarrass me?
Sit down in my house and you would eat here. If you're hungry, you ask me, why would you go out?" You see, even though that sounds like sound advice, which it is, but because of your approach, you just gave the child the impression that they don't have the right to feel hungry. God forbid that they are hungry. So, and that's such a pivotal disease in this country, is we have no respect for the feelings and the emotions of people.
Yes.
You understand? I, like you made a statement, or somebody here made a statement about for wives or something like that. And I said that is ridiculous. In my opinion, that is ridiculous.
What's ridiculous?
Because just having a family with so many wives, and in some countries, it's actually more than one husband.
Yeah?
Yes.
More than one husband?
Yeah.
What country?
Yeah, there's polyandry.
Polyandry.
Are you thinking?
And the reason that I say that is ridiculous is because that you will definitely have some dysfunctional things going on.
Some needs will not be met.
There's no way that it will just be normal.
Some equal love will not be shared.
Equal.
Okay, on that note, right? That to me sounds, when you talked about, a mother talking to a child, like, that sounds like abuse to me. So let's shift now.
No, but wait, we didn't even finish the family reunion part, because Northern reunion is different than Southern reunion. Southern reunion is different from the people in Yoruba countries, states. I said countries. I just had like that trivia thing. And Lagos, the Yoruba people unite differently from how the Hausa unite. The Niger Delta, they unite differently. So this family reunion thing, it needs to happen. Some people don't even believe in uniting for extended family to all come together and break bread together. They don't believe in it.
Sometimes I feel sometimes, right now, my bar is becoming too bad. But then the thing is, sometimes, there's so much enmity in families that sometimes you just don't even want to meet with one family. The thing is,
so much and you let it go, it will grow. And
I'm just saying, sometimes, especially right now, that there's a lot of babalao jazzing things. I'm just saying. Some people will say, God forbid bad thing, let me go to that person and eat in his house because I know he might do something to me.
You don't have to eat. Don't eat. It's okay. Swallow your spit. But come and let's talk.
Stepping into the situation.
Right.
See, that's the thing. So it might actually be softer in the northern part of Nigeria. But in other places, I know some people that will say, if I'm going back home for any reunion, I have to show like I don't have money. I have to show like I don't have anything. I have to go with transports. I can't take my car. They shouldn't know that I have this amount of money because they would jazz the thing up. So say I'll come back, there's nothing. You understand? So I can understand if we're pushing reunions, but some you know,
Factors.
yes,
But
some,
you know that
of-
it's a problem in your family or in your state or in your
Situation.
village. Before you go, you sit down and you pray to God for your own protection. So as you enter, whatever
for your
they do,
sanity.
you
Yes,
say,
yes.
So at the
"That's
end of the day,
stop."
you do what you need to do.
yes,
Yeah.
you need what if you're not comfortable with it, it shouldn't be pushed.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable, you know there's this auntie that whenever you go, God forbid, she'll say, oh my God, why are your children ugly? All of them. Black children. You know that kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
you don't want that kind of
Like,
energy.
no respect.
Yes,
It goes back to
Yes.
that no
All
respect.
right,
I can go back to
I
no
think we need
respect.
to.
Or why is your husband always still poor?
I think we need to.
you
I
know?
think we've done justice to
Yes,
this
to this topic.
We need
Yes,
to
yes,
go
yes.
on
People say
to
that.
Yes.
domestic violence.
Yes.
Domestic violence. I'm sure
domestic
there are so
violence,
many factors to domestic violence.
Where do we start?
So the bottom line is that people die from this.
Yeah.
So I think we've done justice on family bonding, and it's time to talk to have a conversation now about domestic violence. But before we go into that, we're going to have a feature on domestic violence.
Domestic violence, also known as domestic abuse, battering, or family violence, is a pattern of behavior which involves violence or other forms of abuse by a person against another in a domestic setting, such as in a marriage, cohabitation, or general family setting. It ranges from physical, verbal, economic, religious, emotional, reproductive, and sexual abuse. Sometimes it appears subtle or coercive, but it is still abuse. Domestic violence occurs when the abuser believes that the abuse is acceptable, justified, or unlikely to be reported. It usually produces intergenerational cycles of abuse in children and other family members who may feel such violence is acceptable or condoned. Statistics show that globally, the victims of domestic violence are mostly women, and that it is steadily on the increase. Research has established a direct and significant correlation between a country's level of gender equality and the rates of domestic violence. Unfortunately, it is the most underrated crime, even though it is fast on the increase, leading to lots of hurts, harm, and even loss of lives.
So there you have it, domestic violence. We need to talk about this. It's a serious issue because, especially because people die at the end of the day, you know, due to domestic violence. How do you think we can stop this?
I feel like now every single thing I open, newspaper, internet, anything, there's so many domestic violence cases.
Right.
It's a dime a dozen. It's probably a dozen or dozen. Forget the dime of dozen. It's dozen or dozen. Every single thing, domestic violence. Why have we gotten so angry that we feel the only way is to be violent?
Right.
Why?
Well, you see, unattended childhood trauma, unattended childhood issues
Right.
lead to adult issues.
Right.
Yes.
Okay? And I mean, I am remorseful now and I'm humbled. But when I got married, I was a very angry person. And that's where the quietness of my husband plays a good role.
Right.
I was angry because there was so much that I hadn't taken care of growing up. So when I came into the marriage, like my husband became my trigger. He would say a certain thing and it would take me to 12 years old. It would take me to 15 years old. It would take me to a far place and then I would go swinging. And I would never forget the day I slapped my husband in my father's house.
Wow.
And everybody went like, oh my God.
Wow.
My oh my God was that, Omenesa, you have a problem. Your husband is not your problem. Your husband is your trigger. And I think that in our lives, in our marriages, if we see that marriage does not take two people, marriage takes one person. If you can just be very honest about the vampire and the demons that you have brought into your home because of the baggage that you have not dealt with, your home will be a host of hell.
Right. It's very true.
And that was what was going on in my house, was that my husband is innocently doing something, but I am interpreting it from a totally different place.
Anger.
How I was taken to boarding school, and I would never forget how my father just drove, because at that time I had to be in boarding school. Life just didn't allow us to be together. And I remember the car just moving, and I remember me running after that car. So when my husband got a job in London and he said, "Oh, don't worry, baby, I'll send for you in 6 months." All I heard,
you don't want to go there. And I understand where you're coming from. And it's actually a difficult thing.
When you start seeing the ripple effect, and when you start seeing the consequences of you not killing your demons, then you wouldn't even need a shrink. You could be your own shrink.
You could be your own shrink, yes.
Yeah, your case is quite interesting because you told yourself, you spoke to yourself, you realized that you were not
have
at
a problem.
Exactly.
Yes.
And for me, the question is, what happens to people that would never accept that they have a problem?
Or don't even know it. Or they
Yeah,
don't
people
even know that
they are in so
it's
much
very
pain.
peculiar,
like
yeah.
denial,
Yeah,
like
denial,
the first
yeah.
stage, like in death, the first stage,
is
the
denial.
5 stages, the first stage to the 5 stages of grief is denial. Grief means pain. So when someone is, oh, no, I can't go there. I can't talk about that. It's not because they're so macho or they're so forgiving or self-righteous. No, it's they are in perpetual
pain. Yes. And they don't know how
See,
to
the
deal
thing
with
is,
the pain.
how we grew up, like you said, we don't address our issues. And I understand where she's coming from. It's why you've accepted it is because of the culture, like the American culture.
The American culture, yeah.
Let's say, for example, now you see, like in families, that fathers beat mummies. These children see it. And they might actually just not be hurt in their childhood. They just grow up and automatically think it's right. It's
normal. It's okay.
It's
because
okay.
daddy does no wrong, like you said.
So they might know it's wrong. They might know because the mom, sometimes when there's a disconnect in the family, the children tend to tilt towards the mom.
mom.
Yes, they're always saying daddy's wrong, daddy's wrong. But when they grow up, they do the same thing. So they're not hurt, but this is what they know. Do you understand? I understand we need to kill our demons, but then some human beings, I just realized, sometimes even within friends, you see issues of, but she should know that this is wrong. What she's doing to me is wrong. But they don't know. Some people don't know.
You are the product of how you were raised. So, so like that mother that called her daughter an idiot, her mother called her an idiot. You understand? And like sometimes, like I look at myself in the mirror, and it's small wonder that I dress in Ankara. My mother always wore Ankara.
That's the thing. That's
you know. So you end up like your parents.
Like your parents, psychologically.
Like you really do.
It's a psychological effect. It's just like I was watching a movie, and it was like one of those movies where it was a gambling movie, stealing all those things, and at the end, the guy was gambling with some guy, but they now reversed it and said, this is how he got to win the gamble. He placed little things, little tiny things that
to make sure.
it is not obvious, but your eyes see it. The guy was driving down the street. There was a 33 sign.
53.
Yeah, he was
55.
He was 55.
I know
on the pitch,
Smith,
there was a sign 55.
Yes.
So, you know, you see your parents being beaten. It is in your head. Psychologically, you've put it in there. You see your mother crying. You know, okay, so they beat her. She should cry. Okay, she gets up. She's strong. Okay, so it's implanted in your head.
Gradually.
It is there. Your father has probably never touched you a day in your life, but now you grow up, you get married, you have your own family, and subconsciously it now starts to play back. You now say, okay, my father, something triggers in your brain. You beat your wife. Nobody ever beat you before, but you've seen it. It has played in your brain over and over. You have forgotten it, but then one day it just creeps in.
It's true.
That's the problem. And we Nigerians, we don't believe that we should go and see a psychiatrist.
We
Am I a
don't.
mental patient? It is for crazy people.
Yeah.
The man on the street that has dreadlocks and is naked, that is who needs to see a shrink. No.
Well,
Right.
like
No.
the people who end up with the stereotype of a mad person are people who snap.
Yes. One day they just look up and just...
They snap
Their
because
brain.
all the things they did not confront
Front.
will confront them.
Yeah.
You just wake up and
I've been that
boom.
person.
Yeah.
I've been that person. And till date, people feel like, oh, you can't say certain things to Z because
to this school. This school is better every time, every single day. This man is hearing this. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. That is abuse too.
Yes.
You know, so
That's
that's
psychological
yes,
abuse.
yes, that's something women do. Or, oh, this person is
Not even
holding
men,
this.
women, men too.
No, I know men do that, especially if you're getting a bit fatter. You're not.
Story of
I'm
my life.
telling you, you're fat. You're fat. Before you know, every
Can't you
time
be
you're
like
look-
so and so?
Yes. Sometimes they won't even tell you, can't you be like so and so. They'll compare you to the old you.
Yeah.
People like that don't see anything wrong in what they say. They don't
Yet
see
they're called
they just-
narcissists.
Exactly. They're just there.
And we have 100%
Dark.
narcissistic
My
human
dear,
beings.
Human beings
I
more
went to
around
this thing
us.
just last
Right.
night.
Yeah.
Let's not even go too far. Just last night, I got home. It was raining. I took my clothes off. Who asked me to pass the mirror? Hey, God. I passed the mirror. I took a look at myself. And I remembered everybody that week that has been telling me how fat
Oh, no.
I was. And I stopped in that mirror and I just looked at myself. And I promise you, I don't know when I started crying.
Oh.
I was like, oh my God, I am so fat. And I tore myself into pieces as I look at this hip.
Yourself.
This hip is like this. That one is like this. Look at this roll there. Look at this pinch. I
too hard
broke
on
down and
yourself.
I
Yeah,
literally
that's the
sat on the
thing.
floor and I was just looking at myself crying. And I'm like, but wait, why am I crying?
Good one. Good one. That's
That's
it.
the thing.
That's
That's a
it.
good
You
one.
need to
And
help
this
yourself.
came from every single person that I came
Comments.
across
Just-
And
in the
then, you
past
know,
couple of
we-
weeks telling me,
we-
see, you've gained weight. See, look at this.
And they feel, some people,
Careless
they feel
comments, they
that
just
is
throw it.
just the gritty.
Rude.
Yeah.
Ha,
Very careless.
I read a comment about myself.
Yes. You know, they see you. You've not seen somebody for 5 years. And the first thing they say, I'm like, how can you do that?
I mean, like, of course you've changed in 5 years.
yes,
Oh my
yes,
God.
yes.
What do you expect?
Say,
I should change.
Some see it as a compliment. No fat woman sees it as
It's
a
not a
compliment.
compliment.
It's not a compliment.
Nobody.
It's not a
sees it as
greeting.
a
It's just a,
compliment.
how did you get
My sister, I read a comment about myself on my blog. They put a picture of myself and a model. We're wearing the same dress. And they said, who wore it better?
Oh, no.
There's somebody in the comment section, if you are
Said-
watching this thing, I'm
said
coming
the
for
chubby
you.
one.
She said the
Really?
chubby one.
No, but then the thing is
The
that
chubby one. We need to understand that the world is out there. People can just say what they want to say.
they want,
That one
especially
broke
on
me,
social
the
media.
chubby
People can just say, let's just go back to
Yeah.
our discussion.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
And then when I didn't get that checked and I did that again, he went to his family.
Right.
So I knew that the next place was jail or divorce court.
Right.
So I had to work on
that's the
that.
American
So
society for
yeah.
you now. We're talking about-
So they have,
this was in Nigeria. He went to my family in Nigeria, and then the second time he went to his family, and then the third time I went to see a shrink
right.
But like
because I knew I needed help.
Yeah.
Did you see a shrink here in Nigeria?
I saw one here and I saw one in America, and you also have to understand that I'm real deep in psychology as well. So like I pretty much knew what to do and
Where to
what not
go
to
get
do
help
because
and all of
that's part of my profession as an emotional coach.
Right.
But I think that when you call out the abuser, then they are forced to get help.
you know, let someone help you. And right now there are so many platforms on social media that I know there's this breakup or makeup. And then Joro, obviously, and so many, you know,
There are
they
all
have
these domestic violence
pages.
organizations,
NGOs and all of
Right.
that.
But before you
Yeah.
get to the NGO now, you know,
Family.
this is person that, this is somebody that is sitting at home in Kaduna or one Katsina or somebody that we're talking to. talk to someone, talk to an auntie, talk to an uncle, talk to somebody. And
Even
if they
your
don't,
friend,
yes. No, sometimes, you know, friends now, they tend to judge you.
No.
You
See,
know,
you know,
friends,
you know your judgmental friends. When you know the friend that has kokolwa. For example, if I'm going through something, I know the friend to call. If I want sane advice, I'll probably pick up my phone and call Aisha and say, Aisha, so. If I want a hip-hop and, you know, enjoyment advice, I know the friend to call. Now, she owned the world of enjoyment, Minister of Enjoyment Affairs. So you should know your friends and the categories they belong to. I always say there's a friend for every reason.
I think we should not forget the place of our religious institution.
Right.
People always... We shouldn't
no,
forget.
but I understand where he's coming from, because you could go to the church. You know, you could go to your pastor. You could do this. But with us now, you know, sometimes because I feel the thing is, I feel the best person in our own. I don't know if, like, there are other, like maybe NASFAT, for example. There's this NASFAT like core, and they have something like that, but it's not widespread amongst the religion to say, oh, we have counselors and we have this and we have that. And I think that's something we need to work on. But then the best person to talk to is your family. But abusive husband, for example, and I talk to my parents and they don't agree, I would run.
You would run.
I would run.
Lady O.
Well, hurting people hurt people.
Yes.
So the abuser and the abusee are both in pain. It's just a different level.
Yeah.
So what I would say is that you work on yourself. You were talking about your image and how you felt about yourself. I would say become a parent to yourself. Become that husband to yourself. Become that wife to yourself. Give everything, every deficit, every crevice, every gap, every hole, fill it up. Fill it up with love. Go out. Enjoy yourself. Eat right. Sleep right. Sleep for 8 hours. Drink a lot of water. Pay attention to yourself. Hang out. Say no. Love on yourself. Become that husband. Become that wife to yourself, because guess what? It's called the law of attraction.
Yes.
You will attract who you are.
You will attract who you are.
You will.
Bash, let's hear from you.
I would take it from where she stopped. You need to love yourself. Then also you need to know yourself. While loving yourself, know yourself. Then if you see signs of the partner becoming abusive,
do something about it.
Do something about it.
Talk to someone
and for me, for the ladies, I'll be speaking for the men. If your husband...
Love yourself, you'll be able to love somebody else. When you know yourself, you'll be able to have room to know someone else.
It's true.
Just be the change you want to see.
It's true. It's true.
So that's a wrap. I'm sure we've done justice to both our topics today. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us, and hope you were able to pick one or two things and employ that. On that note, goodbye.
Goodbye.